So today we're going to talk about nutrition for athletes. I know this topic doesn't always seem too exciting sometimes, but super important, and especially for athletes. So the sooner you guys kind of get into more of a habit and some schedule with some of your nutrition topics and things like that, the better it'll be for your future in athletics. So try to inform you guys a little bit about some of this process, but keep it as simple as I can for you guys, but we'll hop right in. Just a reminder that I am recording, so just kind of keeping you guys aware and keeping you in the loop, just in case, whatever you're comfortable with, really. But all your cameras are off, so we should be good for that. But we'll jump right in. Okay, so first we're going to start it off with some basic nutrition. Just kind of a little analogy that I tend to think about in terms of nutrition for athletes is an athlete's body is kind of like a sports car. You're not going to just want to put normal gas in a sports car. You're going to want to put the premium gas in it. So you're going to want the best of the best, and whatever is going to make your outcome the best and the best performance and the best of the car's ability, right? So it's just something that I tend to think about and in that type of situation. But anyways, nutrition is obviously essential for athletes in terms of performance, development, and growth. So yeah, just kind of being aware of what we're putting into our body and how it's going to benefit us as athletes, and that will come a bit type of thing. The three types of things we're going to talk about in terms of this basic nutrition is going to be our carbohydrates, our protein, and our fats. In terms of carbs, it's going to ideally take up 50% of your meal or your plate. It's kind of our source of fuel and our energy, so it's going to be things like your pasta and your rice and your fruit and veggies and your yogurt. So that's kind of a big chunk of it is going to be your carbs. Second little part is your protein. So this is more of our repairing stuff. You guys may think of building muscle with all this protein, so it's going to help repair. It's not so much used for energy, but it's going to consist of 20% of your meal. And then fats, it's going to help with or absorb some vitamins and stuff like that, but it's going to be 30% of your meal. Don't get confused with fats about candy and chips and that type of fat. This is the good type of fat that you're going to want 30% of it in your meal. So that type of deal, those are kind of the basics. But if we take a look over at this image from MyFitnessPal, they do a good job at explaining the food pyramid for an athlete. And like the baseline is kind of made up of your essentials and the foundation of some of the foods that are probably consisting in your meals. So it's going to be the stuff that's providing you with that energy and keeping up with that active lifestyle that you guys have as athletes. That tier 2 is going to be your micronutrients. And this is going to, they're not supplying so much energy as your foundation baseline one, but it's going to be helping with your performance and your bone health and all that good stuff. Tier 3 is more about your nutrition timing. So it's kind of just about when you eat is just as important as what you're eating. So kind of just how you space your food out around your training and your exercise and workouts and stuff like that. Tier 3 is about sports fuel. So this is going to be a little bit more of an individualized level, depending if you need a protein bar or what to kind of make it through your training session. So it's obviously going to be limited to some people and kind of what they choose within that level. And then lastly, tier 5 is about our supplements. So it's kind of just if any of our other 4 levels below us didn't make it, or you're missing some spots below, it's going to kind of fill in the gaps for anything that you kind of miss. So that's just kind of the baseline of our nutrition and kind of some basic terms and things like that. Next little thing here is about hydration and keeping up with our fluids and our water and stuff like that. So obviously I think this is a very overlooked topic sometimes, and sometimes we forget about keeping up on drinking up our water and stuff like that. But obviously it's very important and yeah, obviously overlooked sometimes. But we need to continue drinking throughout the day, not just when you're thirsty and your brain tells you that you're parched and you need some water, because by that point you're dehydrated by that point. So it's just kind of something to keep in mind, to constantly be sipping on some water and getting your fluids in throughout the day. So obviously performance is affected highly by hydration. And dehydration can lead to a decrease in performance. And even if you aren't hydrated before a big game or a long practice or something like that, it's possible for your muscles to get fatigued or even cramping or whatnot during a game. So it's kind of important to keep up on that in terms of athletic and stuff for us. And especially in your guys' sport, playing soccer, usually out in the heat, humidity, 30 plus temperatures, you're going to be sweating more. So that means we're going to have to be replacing that sweat loss from our exercises with electrolytes and fluids and water and whatnot. So yeah, it's especially important for you guys since you're not only exercising, but you're doing it in humid and hot weather. So super important for you guys. But yeah, just this little picture on the side, making sure that we're drinking roughly every 20 minutes within practice, before and after practice, making sure that we are replenishing and refueling our bodies with fluids and staying hydrated. But yeah, that's kind of the base of that, making sure that we are staying hydrated. Next little thing here is about recovery, and how recovery is obviously a key process for nutrition in terms of athletes. And proper nutrition is going to lower the risk of fatigue and injury within athletes. So obviously good nutrition is going to enhance our performance by lowering the risk of potential injury and risking us in that sense. But it's obviously going to depend on what our days look like and if we're in a tournament situation and how many games we have and whatnot. But timing is important, and different examples of food is going to include our carbs and our protein and our fluids. So like our toast or having a bowl of oatmeal or whatnot, these are going to be things that are going to recover us and refuel and replenish us type of deal. But ideally after a game, you're going to want a heavy carb load to kind of recover from all of the exercise and the training. Supplements are always an option if you feel like you aren't completely meeting those needs and that type of deal. But yeah, this will allow us to have a better recovery in the future to even be better next practice and whatnot. So try to recover and have a meal within 30 minutes after your practice or your training, and then make sure, even if that snack is a smoothie or some chocolate milk or peanut butter and apple, right? And then make sure even an hour after you're having a bigger meal to kind of get your carbs back in you, get your energy back up and whatnot. So very important topic, and make sure that you're kind of not forgetting about it once you get home from practice and all that stuff. So that's recovery. Next little thing here is about the timing of eating. This is something that I've even kind of learned about within the last couple of years even, and the importance behind it. So it's a very beneficial topic for athletes. But this topic is an individualized little topic here because it's going to depend on the athlete's preferences when it comes to food and what they like to eat before games and what makes them perform at their best. So kind of depends and varies from person to person. But in most situations, a good rule of thumb is for your big meal, for your pregame meal, to be eaten around 3 hours before your game time, just to ensure that it's fully digested and you're not going to have an upset stomach or whatnot during your game time. But kind of just keep that in mind for your big pregame meal of all your carbs and stuff that usually take a little bit longer to digest. But if you're having a snack or you don't have too much time before your games, you're going to probably be eating an hour before. You'll have just a smaller snack, like I mentioned before, granola bar, peanut butter and apple, just smaller things like that that are still going to give you that energy and have those carbs, but are going to take a little bit less time to digest, so you're still ready for game time. In terms of during your game, obviously hydration is key here, but if you obviously need an extra boost of energy, you can have some carbs, which is just granola bar, a handful of trail mix, whatever you kind of need to get over that hump or whatever. And in terms of after practice or after a training session, you're going to for sure want something within 30 minutes of that interval afterwards. Like I mentioned, this could just be chocolate milk to kind of just get you through that time. But for sure within an hour or 2 hour window after your training session, you want to make sure that you kind of get those carbs and that protein back in you. So a goal for after your activity is to recover, rehydrate, and refuel. So this will allow you to excel in your future performances, but obviously just within this time slot of eating, keep in mind the process of digestion and how long it takes to digest certain things. And it's obviously a little bit of a confusing topic, but kind of just keep that in mind if you can. It'll help you. So yeah, to kind of just break that down a little bit more, some examples of a pregame meal is going to be more of a balanced meal, making sure you're hitting all your food groups and getting your greens in. So it's going to consist of something like this picture kind of consists of, so chicken or rice or pasta, and then some veggies on the side, more of a big balanced carb loaded meal. Or even like a turkey wrap, veggies and dip, just kind of making sure you get enough food in you. But if you want to have a snack 30 minutes to an hour before your game time, something that's more easily digestible, you can have cheese and crackers, granola bar, whatever you kind of need to get you enough energy beforehand. During your games, you can have water, Gatorade, Powerade, whatever you kind of need to get your electrolytes back in you, some sugar, staying hydrated. But obviously, if your training session or activity is longer than 2 hours and you need some food, make sure you guys bring some snacks with you, get some carbs back in you to help you kind of persist throughout the rest of your training session, give you a little bit of an energy boost. And then afterwards, for your post-game meal, you're going to want to get all those carbs back in you and have more of a dense meal, so to kind of recover your body from that. So chicken stir fry, rice, lots of pasta, kind of get all that good stuff back in you, help your muscles heal, and all that hard work kind of paid off, so you kind of want to recover your body in that sense. But yeah, just some more in detailed examples in that sense. Next little thing here, obviously while we're on the topic of nutrition, I think it's important that we touch on balance and body image and all that stuff, because yeah, balance is obviously key in many aspects in your life, but it's obviously really key in your nutrition. So kind of just understanding what you're putting into your body and how it's going to help you and what it's going to benefit for you and in your performance in your sport or whatnot. But the purpose of it behind it and how it's going to benefit you, and in the sense of guilt, you're having a whole bag of chips to yourself, right? Just don't get too caught up in all of this crazy stuff around nutrition, right? We're still kids and we need to have fun. So just because we're talking about nutrition, don't look too much in depth into it right now and get too concerned about it. So just kind of relax a little bit and take your time off of social media and don't worry about society too much, because that's obviously kind of a toxic place in terms of nutrition and what should happen and what should not happen. So just kind of keep that in mind in this topic. Touching on that is going to lead to body image. So there's tons of research done about struggles on athletes and body image and how you want to look versus how you need to look for your sport and the strength and how you need to maintain and whatnot. But there's obviously no right or wrong body type, so just understanding that food is fuel and you don't need to be scared to eat, and you're trying to maintain your strength and your health and to perform the best in your sport. So just understand that we may look different from our friends who don't necessarily play sports, just because we need to maintain our strength and to try to excel as best we can in our sport. So that's half the battle, right? So keep that in mind. But yeah, that wraps it up for me today. Thank you guys. My couple numbers here that are listening today, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully you can take some information from this and start picking up on some habits now to help you out through your athletic careers. And yeah, I just hope this can benefit you guys in your future. But that's all I got today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute